These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
We are back. Another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording Thursday, September 14th. And we asked you guys what we should talk about. On the last podcast, we said give us video ideas for the next week, and you guys came through. And so we are going to be talking about something that, who brought it up? Shoot. Philip Hart. This was one of the few things that he asked for our thoughts on, and we decided to make it into a video. My favorite remaining Celtics, said Philip. Al looked a step slower last season. If he takes a step back, where does that put our title chances? Would a Rob injury have a similar impact? But I think Al Horford is a real question there, because you look at the playoffs, step slow on defense. Al Horford, what now, 37 years old, getting up there. Can be 38 by the time the playoffs roll around. June 3rd is his birthday, so if they make the finals again, he'll be playing probably in the finals at 38 years old. He just extended with the Celtics on a good contract, 2 years, 10 mil a pop. So he will be under contract for this upcoming season and the one after that. But if I had to hazard a guess, and I would probably assume you feel the same, that might be it for Al. I mean, you could see maybe him coming back in a Blake Griffin role, but I don't think he has that many years of playing significant minutes left. And
correct.
That's something to be worried about. Not worried about, but like watch out for.
Yeah, keep your eyes on it. Eyes peeled. Because it is true. They went after him in the playoffs last season quite a bit. He was being targeted in pick and rolls. Trae Young did it. James Harden did it. Miami didn't really do it as much. Their offense was coming more from just an onslaught from everybody that wore the jersey. Yeah. But seriously, Trae Young picked him apart, and I think it was game 4 where the Celtics lost in Atlanta. Trae Young took over. He obviously made the game winner in game 5 over Horford. Or no, it was Jaylen Brown. It was Harden that hit the one over Horford. But Horford did play good defense on that in his defense. But he was targeted in a way he was not targeted in years past. He was, for the most part, throughout his career, able to stick with quicker guys on the perimeter. If you want to point at Steph Curry, you absolutely can in the finals. He gave Horford a hard time, but that's also a top 10-ish player of all time, putting on a career performance in the finals, winning his first ever finals MVP. So I think Horford gets a little bit of a pass there. He's been nothing but like absolute nails for the Celtics ever since he joined back in 2016. Even on his second stint, he still played great defense on Embiid in that Philly series. He was a large reason of why they were able to come back from 3-2 down, because he was all over him. In game 7, he had 3 or 4 blocks at Embiid. It was unreal. Dominated. Plus, Embiid was a step slow because of his knee. To circle back to the actual question, yes, if Al Horford loses a step, the Celtics are going to feel it, but they will not feel it as much because they made the move for Porzingis. That's the real thing to keep your eye on. I think they're going to feel it the most, and I've said this in the past. When Horford begins to age out and he takes on the smaller role, and then he ages even further to where he is no longer fit for that. Because then they will miss Grant. That's who they'll miss. Because Grant would have been the perfect bring him off the bench, sit in the corner, play defense guy. And he's no longer. He has perished.
I agree. I like you said, Porzingis is going to fill the role of Al Horford, at least in the sense that he'll be starting and Al won't have to take on the bigger burden in the paint. Like Porzingis can bang down low with those guys, even if he is scrawnier. Like he's not as strong as Al, but I mean, Al probably guards Joel Embiid better than anybody else in the NBA. So you're not going to find many people who are replacing that. But I think the real interesting thing is outside of the perimeter defense, because I think that was the biggest thing, is the 3-point shooting. He was one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA in the regular season. And then in the playoffs,
second best?
It wore off. I think he was second best. I can't remember who was first, but
might have been Brogdon.
No, Brogdon was 4th. I know this because I've looked like a million times. Number 1 in the NBA in 3-point shooting was Luke Kennard at 49.4%, which is
it's a crazy stat.
That's nuts. And he played like 59 games too. So he played like a full season. Horford was second, then Damian Lee, and then Malcolm Brogdon. But Horford 3-point shooting trailed off in the playoffs, and it was kind of the opposite of his first year back in Boston, where in the regular season he wasn't a great 3-point shooter, then he turned it up in the playoffs. This past year was a great 3-point shooter the regular season. Then it toned down in the playoffs. And so you have to wonder how much of his great playoff stretch in year one with the Celtics was because he was able to utilize like 3/4 of a year off with Oklahoma City, then play a full season and the playoffs, deep into the playoffs, the deepest run of his career, and be fine with it because he had that rest. Then go right into an off season, right into another season that played into the end of May. Like, do you think the toll of his career is like starting to catch up now because he's not coming off fresh legs like he was from OKC? And do you think we could see that again? Like, unless he somehow beats the odds again, I don't think Horford is going to shoot 45% from three again this year. Like, that's just not like, and if it's sustainable, great. Like, he did it for a full, like, how many games did he play? 63 games, but then it trailed off in the playoffs. I'd rather him shoot 20% in the regular season and 50% in the playoffs. But I'm worried that we could start to see the decline sooner than a lot of people realize because you saw it. I don't know. That playoff run was really, I don't want to use the word concerning because like Al was still like, he wasn't bad. Like, he played great defense in Embiid. He could still score a little bit. He had his games, he had his moments, but he wasn't quick on the perimeter.
He didn't shoot great in the
couldn't
playoffs.
shoot well. He didn't. And I worry that could translate into the regular season and the playoffs next year.
New FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube at YouTube TV.
If Horford shoots better in the playoffs last year, they probably make the finals at least.
Yeah, Brogdon.
And this is not a blame Al Horford thing,
No.
but it's a fact. I mean, he shot 45% in the regular season. If he's able to shoot even, I don't know, 38, what did he shoot? Please tell me he didn't shoot like 38
in the playoffs.
in the playoffs.
He did not.
It was much lower.
He shot 29.8% in the playoffs.
Okay, yeah. I just didn't. I did not want to just sound like a moron.
Versus 48% in the playoffs last year.
Correct.
So,
So that's
yeah.
a big difference. Kind of hurts when one of your most reliable shooters isn't knocking him down.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I'm interested to see the addition of Porzingis, how it affects Horford's role, and how any change in role is going to affect his play this season. Because I've said it to you a zillion times, I'm really not convinced Al Horford coming off the bench is going to be overly effective. But I also can see why you would bring him off the bench, have a similar game. They can fill in for each other when the other's resting. Makes sense. Completely makes sense. And Rob is his own kind of player. But I think Horford is just a beneficial guy to have in the starting lineup. You can do the 5 out if you really want to. And he's going to be able to defend some of the bigger centers. I really am not convinced Porzingis is going to do a great job at that. And that kind of leaves Horford to continue to be important. So I really hope at the very least he doesn't lose a step in that category. Again, defending Embiid in the playoffs, he was great. He was such an impact player in that series. He is part of the reason they won. If he's not able to give them that, then I don't know what they're going to do. I don't think Porzingis is nearly as effective at that.
I don't think he's as good, but I think he is good enough to where, and this is going to sound super backwards, and it sounds laughable because it is, use Horford in the, remember it at the beginning of last season when they had Noah Vonleh on the roster, and they literally just trotted him out there to throw at Embiid and to throw at the big centers.
Yeah.
Do that without. That's why I think he could be fine in the bench role. Like, start him when you're playing the Sixers. Start him when you're playing the Nuggets. Start him when you're playing, like, but other than that, there's no need to start him against the Hornets and Mark Williams. Like he's just not needed as much there. He's not needed as much against.
But also,
I don't know, the use of Nurkic or any of these other centers who aren't going to be banging down low in the post as much with him. And I think if you bring him off the bench,
when
he can be.
You're screwing around with like somebody's role though, like bench starter. Sometimes you're playing a lot, sometimes you're resting. It's really going to like mess with their flow. You saw with Derek White. When Derek White comes off the bench, he is not nearly the player he is as a starter. It's true.
Then I think
does that mean it's going to happen to Horford? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. We haven't seen Horford has never really come off the bench in his career except in Philly, and he wasn't good for Philly.
I think coming off the bench now, and doing it for the whole season, like what they did with Brogdon, I just think that'd be the best course of action. Because not only do I think Horford would be fine, because I think his role is no longer to be banging down low on the defensive end on a night-to-night basis. Like, do that in the playoffs against Philly. Do it when you play Embiid. Do it when you play these guys where it's necessary. He can just be a 3-and-D center at this point. Like, he can guard the paint a little bit, provide some help defense. He can still guard down there, but like he won't have to do it against starters. Like, imagine Horford against a backup center. he'd probably be pretty damn good. And he's going to be spending most of his time on offense around the 3-point line anyways. Plus, I think it would be beneficial for Robert Williams. When Robert Williams was at his best, he was the starter. Period. Like, he was at his best when he's at a starter. And you saw his best last season when he was coming off the bench a little bit because he could be the spark plug. But the best ultimate version of Robert Williams, I truly believe, is a starter. And I think you go back to running him as a free safety with Porzingis guarding the center and Rob in the corner, guarding shooters or non-shooters and roaming into the paint to help. And I think that's how not only you get Rob at the best version of himself, but you also, one, preserve Horford for the playoffs, and two, get Horford used to a bench role that he's going to have to take on eventually. He is going to have to go into a bench role eventually. He's not going to be starting at 39 years old. He's probably not going to be starting past this season, if I had to guess. So I think it would be beneficial to start Rob with Porzingis off rip, because that is going to be your starting front court of the future. So you might as well just get them used to it now. Plus, if there's anybody who can teach Porzingis the best possible ways to guard Embiid and these people, it's Al Horford.
It's true.
So that's my thing.
I'm just curious to see what they actually do. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with this big man rotation.
Mm-hmm. If I had to guess, I think they start out, but I would start Rob. But
so should we all be worried about him or no? Not yet.
I don't know if
Close?
concerned is the right word. I'll say wary.
Well, that's why
instead of
worried.
Yeah, I'd say wary instead of worried, even though, you know what I'm saying? Like, watch out for it, keep an eye out for it, because it's probably coming sooner than people think. And just be ready to see how the Celtics handle it, because Al Horford's not going to be Al Horford forever, as much as I would love to have it be that way. But
yeah, me too. He's one of my favorite players.
Agree.
He's really been and become a fan favorite with the Celtics.
He's on Twitter again. Have you seen his tweets?
Is he? No, what's he tweeting?
It's just weird. Not like actually weird shit, but like he's tweeting like he's a 21-year-old. Like,
is he?
Look at he's tweeting.
I can't see what emoji that is. Can you just explain it?
Oh yeah. It is the
Oh. I like that though. I have so much more respect for athletes that run their own socials. Like, he's not paying somebody to do that.
Yeah, well, he came back July 28th. He said something about Mike Gorman. He's talking about Gorman. Like, he said a few things on Twitter towards the end of last season, like hyping up his teammates, like pretty on brand things. Like, even this, like, on brand, yeah, embrace it. Then he just dropped a crazy emoji, which was fire. That. Anyways, thank y'all for tuning in. Let us know what you think about Al Horford heading into the next season. Make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics. 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. Follow us there if you want to catch the pods. And yeah, we appreciate it. I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Do all the stuff Jack said. Also subscribe to the YouTube. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads. We're coming at you every day with different content. So make sure you stay in the loop. You don't want to miss it. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Facebook page is just the name of the podcast. We are back to posting. You can find our uploads there. I'm sharing them. We're getting them out there. We want to make sure people can get to them. You can follow Jack on Twitter at Jack Simone NBA. You can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco. Come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.